Alright, welcome back to the Thomas Rocket Car. Thank God it's finally summertime out. I don't have to work in coveralls anymore. So what I'm doing today is patching the quarter panels on the rocket car here. I just want to take a minute. We'll do a quick little tip here. You want to get comfortable when you're working. And I'm a nice height here. I'm making the driver's side rear quarter panel patch. And what I got is a nice little wooden box here. That's the right height for me to sit on, just a little wooden box with a pad on it. So I can sit here and comfortably work. I can mark things out. I got my light here. I can see what I'm doing. And everything's nice to work on. So just a tip for you there. We're going to go ahead. I'm going to show you the process on the other side of fixing the quarter panel because this is too tight to film over here. But I'm putting the driver's side on first. I'm going to get my process down and then I'll go to the other side and we'll film over there. But so what I'm going to do now is I got a piece of 18 gauge sheet metal. I'm going to go lay this out on the sheet metal, trace it out, and cut the sheet metal out, and then I'll bring the patch back over here. Alright, so I cut my patch out, and I'm going to go ahead and lay it back up in here, and we'll start to get the look and the feel of it. So I'm going to go ahead and start making some marks for where I want to do some bending and cutting and fitting. And the first thing I want to do is bend an edge on here, and I've got to cut it here where the rocker panel start, the jam stops. I got to cut it here. This will fold around the jam. The bottom will get welded to the rocker panel. And then we're going to go ahead and flange this all the way around, and it'll slip up behind this panel. And I went and I've ground the inside of this quarter panel all clean too. So what I'll do when I get done welding this in here is I'll take seam sealer and I'll seam seal the inside edge of this all the whole way so no moisture can get down behind the panel and cause like a chance for rust. So I'm just going to go ahead and lay out some lines on this and we'll start flanging it. Alright, so I broke up the front edge for the seam here for the door jamb. Now I'm going to go on the inside of the panel and I'm going to trace out the actual sheet metal gap. That way it'll allow me to trim this upper edge down to exactly a 1/4 inch or so to give me room to get the flange tool on there straight. So I've got this clamped on in place. I mean, see, it's looking pretty good. It fits on here nice. It's touching the bottom of the rocker. It's fitting real good on the seam all the way up here, just laying in here with 2 little clamps on it. So I'll go ahead and I'll mark the back of this. There we go. So you can see the actual overlap here. I'm just going to go ahead and trim this up nice to get the flange tool, which is here. The flange tool is a pair of vice grips with a stepped edge on it. And what it does is it squeezes on the metal and it creates a flange. Okay, so I trimmed this up all nice here. And we'll go ahead now and get the flanging tool. So I'm just going to go ahead and flange this. Like, and you can see I just put a flange in there. So I'm going to go ahead and go across the whole panel now. That's a workout, but if you can see, we put a nice flange all the way around here. It's not quite deep enough, so I'm going to go over it again real fast, and then we'll come back up and fit it up here. So I'm just going to hit it again, and then we'll fit it up. That's quite a workout when it's 85 degrees and humid out, but there I went and I reflanged it and put a nice heavier flange on it, so it'll be plenty for the overlap. Try not to pinch my finger. Nope. And you can see how this draws up behind it. What I need to do is trim this where it comes up here to the touch the outside. I got to trim this back for the overlap. But this looks like it's going to be good, so let me just go ahead and mark this. Let me go ahead and do that just with the tin snips, which appear to be lost. Now I should be able to slip this. Aha! Slip this right up and under. Like so. Bam! Look at that. Man, it fits like a glove. So you can see your overlap. Hold on, let me zoom in if we can see the overlap. Hold on. Whoa! Alright. So you can see the overlap here created by the step jaws. So when we clamp the panel together, I'm just going to go ahead and weld in the gap, and then when you grind this down, it'll be flush to the panel. Here, so what we're going to do on the last piece is I'm going to cut some notches in this, and I'm going to hammer this around to form this wheel well. But I had to cut a notch in the corner to accommodate where the rocker panel ends here. So I got my front edge here made all nice. It fits up. I think this is going to work out just dandy. The bottom just gets tack welded to the outside of the rocker panel here, and then there's a rocker panel molding that goes on here to cover that. So there's two schools of thought on how to attach these panels. I like to fully weld a seam when I do it, but I guess a lot of people just tack weld it like every ½ inch and then use like Duraglass or all metal waterproof body filler to do it. And this car here, the Thomas rocket car, is going to be sitting in a museum. A chance of moisture and salt and all that, corrosion if you're in a salt state, isn't an issue on this car. So I think I am going to go ahead and try just the tack method. Tack it around every ½ inch, and then I'll seam seal the inside on the inside of the quarter of the seam, and then I'll do a waterproof filler here on the seam on the outside, and I think it should be good for the life of the car. Before I do this, I'm just going to take the shrinker stretcher, and I'm going to put a little sword lock in this to match the curve down here, and then we'll be ready to start tacking it in place. So here's the shrinker stretcher. It's an old Eastwood unit from the 80s, but what you got here is just dies in here, and they have little ribs, and they pinch the metal and either pull it or push it to either shrink it or stretch it. So I want to shrink this on the inside, which will put a crown in this. So I'm just going to go ahead and put it in the tool like this and just push down a little bit, some pressure like this, and it'll put a little crown in the panel. That's probably good because that's not much. It's going to be hard to see, I think, but you can see this little curve here. So what it did is it squished the metal and it just bunched it together on the inside, which drew this panel around and put this curve in it. So that's probably enough to match the door. I'm going to stop right there. I'll reinstall it here and get it clamped down and fire up the welder, and we'll start tacking. Here we go. I'm going to tap the metal down tight every time I make a tack near it. Keep the gap nice and tight. Just light taps. Alright, I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to tack all the way around until I get it all buttoned up about every ½ inch. Okay, what I did here in the back, I'm going to make my roll around this thing. So I did a bunch of relief cuts in this, and I'm just going to hammer this piece around and wrap it right around the square bar here for the wheel well. Just going to work it a little at a time. What the relief cuts do will give the metal somewhere to go while it's making the shape around here. Then I'll weld it back together and trim it while we're done. You see I rolled nice right around the corner here to make this corner piece. I'll just weld these up, then trim off the excess back here, and it'll be a perfect lap back there. Alright, I got it all welded up here, so I'm going to go ahead and get the grinder and just grind all this up and clean it up nice with the flap wheel. Alright, so there we go. Got it all ground up nice. It's pretty straight. Overall, it came out pretty good. So thanks for watching. Go ahead and subscribe, hit the like button, hit the little blue bell for alerts. I appreciate everybody watching. We'll see you next time at the Quick Speed Shop. But come over here and check out how it operates. Woo! Whoa. Ow. Dang it. Whoa.